Okay, so today's topic is topic 8. It's called Pains and Gains. It is the last topic of our unit on biological diversity. So we'll start by talking about the role of zoos in preserving biodiversity. Now, there's a lot of debate on zoos, whether they are good or bad, but zoos, they are more than just a place to display plants and animals from around the world. For example, the Calgary Zoo is part of a worldwide network that is attempting to protect and preserve endangered animals. There's also exchange of animals between zoos that happens regularly, and hopefully the goal for that is to maintain genetic diversity, all right, by breeding animals from different zoos. So this video here, we'll take a quick look at the pros and the cons of zoos.
Bears, oh my! But are they really such a great thing? Hey animal lovers, Julia here for DNews. I loved zoos my whole life. There's one I remember that made me want to share how awesome animals are. Fast forward a few years and well, here I am making videos about science and animals on the internet. But now I'm older, wiser, and really ambivalent about zoos. Zoos have changed a lot since their conception. Environments used to be basic, easy to build, and didn't provide animals with the opportunity to interact with their surroundings, which was detrimental to their health. Think of classic zoos, animals in a small cage with nothing but concrete and bars. Zoos today have changed since this practice into providing enriched environments, which include increasing space, adding natural sound, and introducing elements of their natural environments. But most of the time, changing the cage in which an animal is held isn't enough, since what the animal may find stressful is hard to assess. When these stresses go unnoticed, the results can be really bad. For example, the most recent loss was an entire stingray population at the Chicago Zoo because of low oxygen levels in their tanks. In this case, it was a malfunction of the habitat's life support system that caused the death of 4 southern stingrays and 50 cow-nose rays. This is the second incident that has taken place at the Chicago Zoo. In 2008, they lost 19 stingrays to a heating malfunction, and they have decided to close the exhibit for good. Light and sound also have negative effects on animals held in captivity. According to a study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science, noise levels measured in 2 Northern California zoos had sounds ranging from 62 to 72 decibels, compared to the noise levels of a rainforest, which can average about 27 decibels. Light levels are also higher than they're supposed to be. Maintaining a low light situation keeps animals less aggressive. But if you don't have any lighting, how are you supposed to see the animals? When it comes to feeding, nothing seems easier than having your food delivered and served. But when it comes to lions and other carnivorous animals, getting served zoo slop can actually put them in danger. Researchers at the San Diego Zoo studied cheetahs and their eating habits while in captivity. They gave one group the regular zoo cuisine of ground horse meat with a mix of vitamins and minerals, but gave a second group thawed bovine fetus, or half of the large carcass. They noticed that the group eating the carcass took more time chewing and smelling their food than the first group. Pretty much they acted as they would normally in the wild, besides the whole hunting part. Researchers discovered that processed foods lack a hassle factor, which cheetahs need to dull down their molars and is critical for good dental hygiene. The treatment of elephants are at the forefront of the debate against zoos. Elephants are used to living in huge matriarchal families and are innately social creatures. But by being held in captivity with only one other elephant they may not even be compatible with, it causes stress and shortens their lifespan. Elephants in captivity only live half as long as those who live in natural wildlife preserves. African elephants can expect to live 36 years in Kenya's Amboseli National Park compared to zoo elephants who live to be about 17 years old. Although some accredited zoos like the Bronx Zoo and the San Diego Zoo are able to extend the lives of their elephants. The San Diego boasts some of their elephants live to be 40 years old. But not all zoos have the money to keep their parks running. Most zoos struggle with financing all of the needs of their animals, employees, and maintenance of their parks. Some zoos apply for accreditation through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, but only 10% of 2,800 zoos in the US actually get it. It also distinguishes zoos from roadside zoos, which are known for animal endangerment or mismanagement. In order to be part of the AZA, each zoo must go through a process where experts examine the zoos and make sure they are up to code and have employees who are qualified to work in those environments. Accreditation matters matters because it makes those zoos eligible for grants, able to breed and loan animals with other zoos, and hire the best workers in the business. But before you go rally and protest your nearest zoo, it's not all bad news bears. I cannot overstate the great educational value of zoos. Zoos are a great place to learn about animals for young and old alike. It's a place to literally come face to face with some of the rarest animals in the world. Zoos introduce people to what animal populations are like around the world and educate people about conservation efforts. Visiting a zoo might even get you to donate to these efforts. Meeting a mountain gorilla in person might make you want to save this endangered animal. And zoos want to save endangered species too. Dozens of zoos in North America actively participate in the Association of Zoo and Aquarium Species Survival Plan program, which concentrates on finding dwindling populations, bringing them into captivity, and growing them until they are ready to be released into their natural habitat. SSP-related programs have bolstered populations such as black-footed ferrets, California condors, and red wolves. Zoos also provide healthcare and services to animals who need it. Many animals held in captivity were found in the wild wounded or stranded. Zoos give these animals a second chance at life, one they wouldn't have gotten if they had been left in the wild. So when it comes to pros versus cons, as long as they are well managed and accredited, and they work on creating more natural habitats for their animals, zoos bring people closer to nature and might help save some of the most imperiled species on the planet. So what do you think? How do you feel about zoos? Do you have a favorite zoo? Tell us some of your recent zoo experiences.
All right, so next, what about plants? Preserving the biodiversity of plants. So there are seed banks in many different parts of the world. There are seed banks, which are a collection of genetically diverse seeds. So by collecting seeds, researchers are able to preserve the genetic diversity of many of the plant species. And these may be a useful resource in the future. Because more and more farming, there's more and more artificial selection, we are losing the biodiversity of plants because of farming. So preserving seeds is very important.
This is a special place. Let's go deeper inside. We have prepared this seed vault for about 4.5 million seed samples. Welcome to the Global Seed Vault. This is a facility where we store copies of seeds from gene banks all over the world. So now we are entering a long tunnel which leads into the Global Seed Vault.
Deep inside the permafrost mountain, close to the North Pole, is a storage facility with the capacity to store over 4 million different crops and a maximum of 2.5 billion seeds. The Global Seed Vault was created as a backup system for the world's gene banks to protect humanity against any catastrophes that could potentially wipe out our agricultural diversity.
We are now quite deep in the mountain. When we pass this door, we are in the permafrost part of the rocks here. Now we are moving from approximately 0 degrees into the permafrost section. We have the permafrost here, -5. In there, it's -18. And here you can feel the atmosphere. It's silent. You can hear the echo. It's a very nice place to grasp the atmosphere of being in an important place. Some journalists call this the Noah's Ark of plant diversity, and personally I think that's quite a good name. We call it the world's most important room. So, let's go in. If the humanity can survive, we will need new plant varieties. And the material you need for developing new varieties are genetic diversity. We have seeds from all countries in the world. Kenya, Mexico, India, Peru, Germany, Colombia, Costa Rica, Zambia, Brazil, Australia. Here we have some nice wooden boxes from Tajikistan. Workers in gene banks, farmers have struggled to produce all these seeds and sent them here because they feel safe when they send the seeds here. Svalbard is a safe place. It's the permafrost here, so it's frozen even if the artificial cooling fails. And Svalbard is quite far away from conflicts. Here we have boxes from Russia, and here we have boxes from Ukraine. And even if there are enemies abroad, outside, in this seed vault, they cooperate. And here is some wooden boxes made in North Korea. So even North Korea have sent seeds here. And in the seed vault here, international conflicts are cooled down. You see this empty space in this shelf. We had seed boxes from Ikardas gene bank in Aleppo. They sent seeds here from 2008, and when the gene bank in Aleppo was ruined, we were able to send the seeds back so they can start creating a new gene bank. This system saved the seeds. If they had no backup here, the seeds would have gone extinct. This is the world's largest collection of genetic diversity of crops. What you see in here is 13,000 years of agricultural history. The genes you find in here existed in the natural flora in the Middle East 10,000-15,000 years ago. And then farmers started to use these plants and they improved the plants into the crops that we have today. There is in the seed vault about 70,000 different varieties of barley and 150,000 samples of rice and 140,000 samples of wheat. Researchers, they investigate what are the properties we find in these old varieties, and they use the genes for making new varieties, for new purposes, for new growing conditions. Without this material, plant breeders, agriculture will never manage to feed the growing population. This is the raw material that we need for the future, that breeders need to make new varieties, to increase the world's food production. The work gene banks do every day, conserving their seeds, preparing the genes for future food supplies, is a very, very crucial and important work. I have quite good feeling when I'm in here and know that this is a resource that the future will need. Seed goes extinct every day. And personally, it's a big motivation to think about all the work that has been done to bring the seeds here. And it feels very good to be a part of this global effort for future food supplies and conserve them in a safe place.
All right, so next we're going to talk about a global effort and how it needs to be a worldwide effort to conserve biodiversity. So there are global treaties, which are international agreements between many nations worldwide, for example, to protect endangered plants and animals, or maybe there's a global treaty to work towards planting more trees, and so on. The 1975 Convention on International Trade of Endangered Species, this brought about the prevention of endangered species or parts of these organisms from being imported or exported. So think of like somebody had mentioned the rhinos, or it could be elephants and ivory and so on. So they've made it illegal to buy or sell endangered animals. It's illegal to buy or sell animal parts like horns or tusks. All right, so the last video here we're watching is on the global movement to restore nature's biodiversity.